Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and we're back again with another Spirit Island video. Today, we're going to be learning about the newest adversary, which was released in Nature Incarnate, and that is Habsburg Mining Expedition. 6 months ago, this adversary was fully spoiled in the marketing leading up to the fulfillment of the Backer Kit campaign, and I made an initial impressions video when that happened. I find it fascinating to look back now and see how much my opinions have changed over the past 6 months since I made that video. I think I got some things right, but importantly, I got a lot of things wrong. So, let's dive in. First, we're going to read through everything on the adversary, and then I'll break it down. So, here we have HME, and we have an additional loss condition. This additional loss condition is only checked at the end of the fast phase. So we can be in violation of this additional loss condition all during the spirit phase, fast phase, really not really the invader phase because that comes right after the fast phase, but at certain moments during the invader phase, like because of explorers or whatever, we could be in violation of this, and of course in a slow phase as well. It's just only at the end of the fast phase. If there is a total of 8 blight plus invaders, then we lose. It's really important to draw the distinction between this and something like England. England, at any time, you could just lose, and that means that certain bad events could just be devastating. Whereas with this one, if you get a bad event, you're not punished in the same way. And then also, some spirits, such as River, might want to group lots of invaders together by using slow powers before killing them all with that massive flooding. So it gives a lot of leeway to those kinds of strategies so long as, all your timing is right. It does mean that there is a little bit of an anti-combo if you were to have, like an all fast spirit and an all slow spirit. Like let's say you're using someone like many mines in order to, do a lot of pushing and control, and then having a slower spirit like devouring teeth to do all of the killing. That's going to be a tough combination because they just work in two different phases. So that's something to be aware of with HME, that loss condition. It's the first of its kind to have that kind of a check, and I know it's very popular. A lot of people like it. Maybe future designs will have that too. But anyways, pushing forwards, there is an escalation after advancing invader cards on each board, exploring 2 lands whose terrains do not match a Ravage or build card. And no source is required. So all that stuff we talked about pocketing the other day does not apply, but only to this escalation. It is worth noting that this escalation, I believe, is the only one alongside Russia that basically doesn't add a town. It adds explorers, so just a little interesting, a little bit different. Now, the big, most important rule to understand when it comes to HME is level 1. And we're going to spend a lot more time on this later, but I'm just going to read through it now. Avarice rewarded. When blight added by a Ravage action would cascade, instead upgrade an explorer or town. Okay, so blight cannot cascade. It means we're a lot less likely to get blighted out because you're not going to get these massive blight chains. But if we do decide to, for whatever reason, whether intentionally or not, take those extra blights, that land becomes stronger and stronger as things get upgraded. Okay, but now the important part of level 1 is ceaseless mining. Lands with 3 or more invaders are mining lands. In mining lands, disease and modifiers to disease affect Ravage actions as though they were build actions. And during the build step, build cards cause Ravage actions instead of build actions. Okay, we're going to break this down quite a bit later, but that is the single most important thing to understand with HME. It's what really defines this adversary, is that ceaseless mining rule. Okay, powering forwards. Level 2, miners come from far and wide. During setup, add an explorer to each land with no Dahan setup symbol, and add a disease and a city to the highest numbered land with a town setup symbol. Okay, so on the balance boards, you have 4 different terrains, and one land of each of those terrains will have a Dahan, which means that half of the board is going to have an extra explorer, and that's going to be one of each terrain. Okay, number 3, Mining Boom, level 1. After the build step on each board, choose a land with an explorer and upgrade that explorer. Okay, simply replace that explorer with a town. If there is no land with an explorer, well, we get away for free. Okay, next, HME4, Untapped Salt Deposits. During setup, remove the Stage 2 Coastal Lands card before randomly choosing your Stage 2 cards. Place the Salt Deposits cards in place of the second Stage 2 card. So now your deck order would be 1-1-1, 2 salts, 2-2, 3-3-3, 3-3. Okay. Next we have HME 5. This is Mining Boom level 2. This will replace level 1. So you only do Mining Boom level 1 if you're playing at exactly HME 3 or 4. If you're playing at 1 or 2, obviously you don't have it. But if you're playing at 5 or 6, you will use this Mining Boom instead. So after the build step, choose a land with an explorer, build there, and then upgrade an explorer. So the only difference between 3 and 5 is that you have a build in addition to that upgrade. And last but certainly not least, we have HME 6, the Empire Ascendant. Set up and during the explore step. On boards with 3 or fewer blight, add an extra explorer in each land successfully explored. So this is affecting setup. So something, this is obviously going to be very comparable to France 1. France 1 does not affect during setup. That first explorer will only send 1 explorer, but with this, your opening explorer will have 2 explorers. Additionally, if you're playing at level 6, it affects all of your explore actions, and your escalation is an explore action. So this level 6 will make the escalation very dangerous. Now, there is one caveat, is that this only affects 2 lands per board per explore card. So if you manage to have 3 or fewer blight all the way into the late game with those stage 3 cards, those would explore 4 lands, but you will only have to get the extra explorer in 2 of those 4 lands. So it kind of sort of gets marginally weaker as the game goes on, but of course it's still very powerful at all stages of the game. So the single most important thing with Habsburg Mining Expedition is understanding the concept of mining lands. The crucial difference is that mining lands will ravage instead of build when they're in that build slot. Okay, so remember, a mining land is when there's 3 invaders in a land. So it could be this kind of pattern, which is a very common pattern that we would see, or it could be something like this, right? 3 explorers. It could be, 2 explorers in a town. It does not matter the combination as long as there are 3 invaders of any kinds in a land. It will be a mining land, and like I said, when it's here in this build slot, it will ravage instead of build. Okay, so let's just say that this was this board, this was the situation. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of mining lands. I don't know, let's just throw some other stuff out there. Okay, so we would execute our ravage like normal. Okay, single explorer wouldn't do anything, and we would take a blight over here because it's hitting for 6. Okay, well, then we would go to the build. Okay, actually, let's do this for a second. So this is not a mining land. It will build like normal. Oh, there's a disease. Cool. Now this is a mining land, so it will not build. It will instead ravage. So right here, it would hit for 3. That's good for a blight and killing the Dahan. Okay. What if we had 2 Dahan here? Okay, it would blight. 1 Dahan dies. 1 Dahan takes a damage. The Dahan gets to fight back and then kill these 2. Take note that because of the way that we had the Dahan there and they were able to fight back, it took a action when the card was in the build slot, but that actually reduced the amount of invaders in that land. So now in the future, right, we'd do an explore, we'd move on to the next one. It's going to be a normal Ravage action here, but there's only one explorer left. So this land kind of sort of solved itself. In this specific situation, we took a blight, but I mean, what if we had defended it? And then we knocked it down to just one single explorer. That completely changes the way that we think about how we're going to play the game. The strategies that become available because of this change cannot be overstated. Now, the other thing that is worth mentioning is that only affects those lands. So in our situation, it was a jungle wetland, were the two active lands. This land here, this number 8, is a mining land, but because sands are not active, they don't do anything. It's really easy to make comparisons to HME versus Russia, and I recognize that can be incredibly confusing for some people, but this land will not do anything until a sands card comes up. So it's only a modifier to how a land works. It does not change whether or not a land does work. Okay, the other thing is the way that it interacts with disease. So, right, time passes, we go here. Now, let's say that this is the situation, okay? Let's say there was a disease that was added in the slow phase. Well, this turn, this is going to ravage like normal. This is going to ravage like normal. This is not a mining land, so this disease does not get any bonus effects. But now it is a mining land because we added this third invader. So now in this situation, this disease acts as a ravage skip. So being able to put disease on the island suddenly gains tons of value. You might find yourself in a situation like this right here where adding a disease doesn't actually do anything because you still have to defend the land. But what if we let it build and then we drop the disease here? Now all of a sudden, we can just let that mountains card pass all the way through and the Ravage will be skipped and we can get ahead. So it's another way that we can find an opportunity to gain advantage against this invader by letting mining lands exist and then leveraging that disease change. So this is one of those rules that cuts both ways. It can be incredibly punishing because if you don't deal with a land, it just gets worse and worse and worse because it'll, right, like let's say that we hit sands next, it would blight and then it would move from the build card to the Ravage card, then it would Ravage and blight again. You're just going to take a lot more blight because of it. So this can lead to a lot of positive feedback loops where things just start spiraling. So if we can get good control of these mining lands and we can manipulate them to our advantage, HME can be one of the easiest adversaries in the game. But if that's something that we struggle with, HME is going to be one of the hardest adversaries in the game. So everything else that we talk about in this video is really going to be about manipulating and controlling the game via these mining lands. So I just want to dive down into one more specific rule. It's very easy to pair this mining lands rule in your mind with the Russia 3 rule that states that any land with 3 or more explorers also matches the Ravage card. But it's actually different. So Russia 3 gives actions to a land that would otherwise not act, but HME mining lands doesn't give an additional action. It simply modifies the action that would otherwise not happen. So let's say, right, I just kind of threw everything away. But let's say we had like a triple stack right here. Okay. Against Russia, this would Ravage. Even though we have a jungles here in the Ravage slot, it acts as if this is printed on the Ravage card. And so this would Ravage, this would blight. Now, let's say I'm playing Lure. I grab that spirit, and we had a presence here. So we have that special rule with Lure of the Deep Wilderness. Enthrall the foreign explorers. For each of your presence in a land, up to 2 explorers do not participate in Ravage. This was explicitly clarified in the Nature Incarnate rulebook on page 6. And basically, we would treat this land as if there was only 1 explorer in it when deciding whether or not the land would Ravage. This land right here, let's say we're playing against Habsburg Mining Expedition. it is a mining land. Okay, it doesn't matter whether or not the stuff participates in Ravage. The land itself is mining, and it follows all mining land rules. So let's move this all over to here. So because this is a mining land, okay, mountains are in the build slot, this will Ravage. However, only one explorer is actually going to participate in said Ravage. It's going to do 1 damage, and we're perfectly fine. Going into the next turn, right, the mountains moves to the Ravage slot. Once again, just 1 explorer is going to pass through. It's a cool little trick that gives Lure a nice matchup here, because you can do all kinds of fun stuff by exploiting that rule. With HME, we have a new unique adversary piece. Similar to France's unique event and England's unique build tile, Nature Incarnate came with a new invader card, which will only be used when playing against Habsburg Mining Expedition. And this is the Salt Deposits card. If you've ever heard anyone refer to HME as Saltburg, this is why. It's a quick and easy way to differentiate between the 2 different Habsburg adversaries, with the original also being called Cowburg. Anyways, this new invader card is introduced at HME 4, and I feel like that the adversary is not complete without it. For each adversary, I feel like you should aspire to reach a certain difficulty to get that full experience. For example, against Sweden, you should aspire to play against at least Sweden 3, since that bonus damage is the most iconic part of the adversary. Against HME, you should push yourself to play against at least level 4, because the Salt card is just that iconic. So this is how it looks. It's the exact same as the physical version. The back is completely different, so you'll always know exactly where it is in the invader deck, which I have laid out here. And so it shouldn't be a surprise when it finally flips over. So the Salt card is unique in that it's not tied to any particular terrain. Instead, it affects every single land depending on its status as a mining land or as a non-mining land. So this can be incredibly swingy. Depending on the board state, this could affect every land on the whole island or no lands at all. In addition, once this card gets to the Ravage slot, it can never leave. The Salt card will explore on turn 4, build on turn 5, and then Ravage on turn 6. From turn 7 onwards, there will be 2 cards in that Ravage spot. The Salts will Ravage first, and then the Terrain card will Ravage second. Now, I think this Salt card is brilliant. If you're crushing it and most of the board is empty or in quite low quantities, then the Salt card will do a lot of things and it'll create a lot of pressure. On the other hand, if the board is quite busy and full before the Salt card comes up, this will do damn near nothing, giving you space and time to catch back up. So regardless of your spirit strategy, this card will help you regress towards the mean. I think the best design is simple design, and so this is an absolute win for me. There's all kinds of funny strategic implications of this card as we toe the line between mining and non-mining lands. With our damaging powers, we can dictate which lands are mining and not mining, but we must be measured in our aggression or else we will get punished. If we damage a land and push it below the mining threshold, then we may be giving the invaders more actions than they would otherwise, negating the effects of our powers. So let's say that this Salt card is here in the build slot, it only affects non-mining lands. So let's just say that this was in a land. Okay, it is mining. It will not build. Let's say we're playing Lightning, we play Shatter Homesteads and kill a town. Cool, great, yeah, we killed a town, we like doing that. Well, now it's no longer a mining land, which means it will build, and it's going to build a city. So we actually wind up in a worse position than we started in because we took an offensive action. So that part can be a little bit tricky to wrap your mind around. It's unintuitive where attacking and aggression can actually make your position worse, but that's the way that this card works. And I think it's just a really interesting wrinkle in the way that the game plays out. Since the Salt card never leaves the Ravage slot, this is where the adversary really snowballs. A land that is not taken care of can ravage every single turn for the rest of the game. However, on the other hand, with good control powers and defense, we can make use of this against them in order to force bad ravages in lands with Dahan in order to prevent HME from being threatening heading into the late game. While some adversaries will just be harder in the same way as you increase difficulty, as you get to the upper half of HME, each level you increase has a transformative effect. Because the binary status of being a mining land or not has such significant strategic implications, adding more invaders to the board can be just as helpful as it is dangerous. Going from level 4 to 5, the only change is that the mining booms will now increase the quantity of invaders in the land, because where previously you would just upgrade an explorer into a town each turn, you now do a build action before that upgrade. This can push a land from 2 to 3 invaders and thus make it into a mining land. Since we get to pick where the mining boon happens each turn, we now have much more control over the invaders. In general, the more choices we are given over invader actions, the easier things will be for us, since we're obviously going to have the invaders make bad choices. So going from 4 to 5 isn't the huge jump, but it does create opportunities for us though. However, jumping from level 5 to level 6 is a massive spike in difficulty. This is a variant on France 1 where your Explorer actions come with an additional Explorer. For France, this is dangerous because it threatens the loss condition through France 2, but here it makes a land with a single invader automatically becoming a mining land, which leads to more ravages early. In fact, in most situations, HME 6 will cause a ravage on the very first turn of the game. Here I have every board set up for HME, and I identify the terrains that are going to ravage on turn 1 if they are explored. As we can see, each board has a 50-50 chance of an opening ravage except for A and D. Board A has a 75% chance of opening with a ravage, only dodging with the jungles. And then board D will ravage on turn 1 no matter what. Across all of these boards, mountains are slightly safer than the others, with one fewer board opening with a mountain ravage relative to everything else. There's a couple specific spirits where this early ravage will actually make things easier, such as Eyes and Lore, but for the most part, this is gonna suck. This level 6 rule is such a big deal, it completely warps how the adversary plays out, and you might find it incredibly challenging to make the leap from HME 5 to 6. There are some spirits that are fantastic at dealing with single explorers that are particularly hurt by the better explorers, such as Shadows, Whirlwind, and Breath. It's important to note that this rule does go away if you have 4 or more Blight on your board, so going Blighted early is a valid strategy. If you don't go Blighted for a while, remember that this only affects 2 lands per Explore, so the Salt card won't be as bad as you might think, and Stage 3 won't be horrid either. Usually, I just go Blighted. I don't think being Blighted is so bad, but either way, it's certainly doable. So when I'm thinking about making like a pseudo tier list for spirits to play against a particular adversary, I'm typically thinking about, the niche or the hook of the adversary that really warps the game, and perhaps it negates the way that certain spirits want to play and really exemplifies the way that other spirits want to play. But at least through level 5, HME doesn't feel like it prevents any spirits from really playing a good, fair game. It feels like a very, very fair adversary to me. And I like that quite a bit. It changes a lot and it makes you think a lot, but it feels fair at every point in the game. Going to level 6 really warps things though. I would say in general, proactive spirits are always going to be better against HME 5, but against HME 6, those proactive spirits, those aggressive, front-loaded spirits are going to be a lot stronger against 5 by a little bit, but 6 by a significant amount. your slower scaling spirits are really going to struggle going into HME 6 because you just get so much pressure early on, and you take that early blight card, which you might be less capable of absorbing. I guess the one spirit that does really get screwed over by HME would be Finder, because of the additional loss condition with the 8 total invaders. And then you stack everything up and it starts ravaging every single turn. It turns into a mess. So Finder solo is really going to struggle against HME. In a multiplayer game, you're probably not going to have a super fun time, but at least you can distribute your things to other players, and you can do a really good job of manipulating what is and is not a mining land, and develop some kind of a strategy from there. But I'd say besides Finder, you're really safe picking any of them. One thing that's good to note is that HME has a very low amount of fear cards. Prussia has 12, and then Sweden has 13, and HME has 13 as well. Every other adversary has more. So with a very low amount of fear cards in the fear deck, fear spirits are sweet here. They can rush the fear deck so much faster. So anyways, off to the game. Alright, so for today's gameplay, we're going to be doing Rising Heat of Stone and Sand against HME 5. I'm electing to do level 5. Hopefully we can see using those mining booms in really interesting ways can make things into mining lands, and having a little bit of control and manipulation, being able to see the effects of that would hopefully be pretty nice. Also, Rising Heat is kind of a tricky spirit in this. Oftentimes using these Ravage skips can be great because it allows you to build up a lot of action efficiency. You can ignore the Explorer, you can ignore the build, just skip the Ravage, and life goes on. But because we get to a certain point where you're going to be ravaging every single turn, we cannot rely on sweltering exhaustion like we would against other adversaries. We're going to force ourselves to be a little bit more aggressive. So hopefully we'll get to see all of that happen this game. Let's get into it. Opening with a Mountain Explorer. All right, cool. Awesome. We're going to do the standard triple G3 opener. So just to gain a lot of cards, gain a ton of energy, start building up our actions before we reclaim and then try and blitz it with G2. Opening up here, we have a Sap card I always like to see in this matchup. Defense is very, very strong into HME, and we have plenty of air to give it the extra range. The Defend 2 is just not nearly as cool as Defend 5. Bird's Cry is a great effect though, right? It's like pseudo-defend. If we're playing against HME 6, Bird's Cry Warning isn't so bad, because taking that blight is less punishing, since it'll help us cancel out the effects of HME 6. And Seer Anger is cool in a void, right? I mean, we like lots of fire cards. We like zero cost cards with Rising Heat, so this is always a really good option. However, defense is just one of the best things in the game, so we're going to go for the Sap. Okay, and we're going to grow this way. Whenever I play Rising Heat, I always try and put my presence from G3 in jungles or wetlands, because it's so easy to dump lots of presence in the sands mountains with G2 at later points in the game. But actually, I'm thinking we'll go here, because then we could use this Stinging Sandstorm in order to, we could Mining Boom here, and then we could come across, and then we could kill it. And we'll do Searing Heat just to give ourselves some energy. And then this way we'll get our innate power, being able to kill some explorers. So we can, no matter we get sands, wetlands, or jungles, we'll be able to prevent something. Skip the first event. Skipping farmers, always a good time. We're going to go build, use the disease to skip the Ravage. And then we have the Mining Boom, so we can do that here. Then Exploring hits the jungles. All right. So first we're going to use our Innate in order to kill this Explorer. Then we'll come here, we get a Fear and a damage. Remember, with our special rule, invaders have -1 health in lands with our sacred site. So that 1 damage will kill that town. Awesome. So we're going to defend here. We're just going to give this land up. Once again, we're always a little bit more reliable in the mountains since we can just quickly drop 2 presents. So we can let this land build up a little bit since we can easily knock it back down later. Once again, we're going to do G3. Going here. Let's see. Little 1 damage effects is pretty good. Just because we can, you know, use this to pick off towns. Blight removal is nice. You could use that for damage. So that's something. I like these cards first, right? Because we do need lots of fires on the spirit. This does have the air as well. So that's something worth considering. Here, we're not going to gain any value from Sedum on a Twisting Trail. Like, I'm probably looking at doing something like this. We could do this, honestly. Like, it's not great, but, you know, it gives us time to do a Ravage skip, get our defense here, and then we still have our Sacred Site to pick off either the wetlands or the sands, depending on which one comes up next. And that means that next turn, we'll do Call the Herders for aid. And if we pick up this Purifying Flame, there's really no value from that. If we're going to be skipping this, then there's no point taking the Blight removal. So we're going to take this guy. Okay, we'll get our defend 5 here. Fear, Ravage, skip. And what do we get? Missionaries arrive. We could just discard our hand in order to pay for it. At which point, obviously, we would reclaim. And on 2 card plays, what would we do? We could sap. We could Sweltering Exhaustion. We could just let it blight and play 2 other cards. We could just pay a ton of energy. And that might just be the thing, right? So we just pay all of that energy. That'll get us to Fear. And we'll take a disease here. Since it's already skipping the Ravage action, the disease will not be removed. And then Beast kills Explorer. Cool. Fear card. Strife in a land with Blight. That's certainly something. I mean, now we can Mining Boom this land, right? And we can upgrade that Explorer. So it's not for nothing. Ravage, skip the Ravage, get the build, and then might as well just Mining Boom here, try and get value out of that Strife. Exploring the Sands. Bada bing, bada boom. No innate, and time passes. Doing one last G3. Basically playing anything that we gain here. And Swarming Wasps is 0 cost fire. Is there anything better than that? Confounding Mist gives us defense. I think we just do this Swarming Wasps here. I'm going triple presence because we're going to be taking a Blight. So we'll do Swarming Wasps. And I'm going to put the Beast up here. You know, just put it in a land with lots of invaders. It'll start chipping away at the Beast. It might do some damage to the other buildings. And for our event, explore a land with the fewest total invaders and Dahan. So there's 1 here. That's the fewest. Add disease to a land with 3 or more invaders. Sweet. Push 3 Dahan for land matching a Ravage card to a land not matching a Ravage card. Okay. We can do this. Or we could do this because that's going to skip the Ravage. And then we could use this to deal a damage here. Kill the town. and then it'll be strafed and it'll just solve itself. So I think I like that. Cool. Ravage in the jungles. Build in the sands. We'll mining boom. Since we had the plan of letting that land deal with itself, I'm going to mining boom here. And exploring the mountains. And now we have an escalation. So we get to explore lands that do not match the printed cards. Now, since we know the next card is going to explore any land that is not a mining land. What lands are that currently? Well, we've got jungles, right? Mountains, even after the build. Wetlands, sands, right? We can't explore the sands, so that's out. Can't explore the mountains, so that's out. We can only explore the jungles and the wetlands. And any of these three that we explore will become mining lands and thus will not explore. So I will put my 2 explorers as right here. I guess we could go here to play around a beast event. If you get like beast kills explorers, that would actually be actively bad for us in this land. So in the terms of like lost potential value. So we're going to explore this way. And anyways, now we get the slow phase, so we get to do this. So we'll go here and we can go push. And then we get a fear and a damage. We'll kill you. And then we could pay an energy to deal damage in an adjacent land, but I don't think it's worth just picking off an explorer. We already just spent 4 energy, so we're just going to stay right there. Time passes. Reclaim. And Gift of Power is not bad. You know, we kind of, if we want to be jamming this G2, we're going to need more power cards. And so Gift of Power is a good look. Another one is land, the land rejection. In combination with this sap, we could pull off some interesting plays. But I think I'm just going to take this Gift of Power just to, you know, smooth over our position. So Ravage card is set. Build card is fine. And then we know we're going to be having that big old Explore. So really, we can play for the slow phase here. Might not be a bad time to slip in that Gift of Power. We could do something like here and here. I kind of want to save this Stinging Sandstorm, although that's a move. It's not a very good move because if it's going to be mining, kill the town, goes back to being not mining, builds the town anyways, you're really not making any progress. So perhaps this is just a good time to play Gift of Searing Heat. Just when there's nothing else going on. I do want to be able to kill off some explorers. It's just so that way I can have a little bit of, after this land explores here, this jungle, we can just, deal with it and keep things smaller. Alternatively, right, we could just kill off these 2 explorers here, and then this land is solved. But the question is that better than if we did something like this? Now, if we do something like this, that gives us 4 damage. So we could come here, right? Kill off City, kill off Explorer. That would solve the land. And it's all slow powers. You know what? I think I like it. We'll do this. Just throw down some beasts, I don't know, right here. Just get beasts in all the different terrains. Hopefully they'll turn into something. Or actually, beast kill explorers would be sweet right here this turn. And there we go. We get the payoff. Years of Little Rain. We have the Gift of Power. Next turn, what are we looking at? We could go for 3 card plays. So if we went like discard here. then it gives us these 3 cards. We could discard 1, pay 2, or we could just forget. I feel like maybe the Sunset Fire Flows isn't going to be so hot this game. Might not be a bad time just to forget it. And then just take the proliferation when we have the opportunity. Go here. Yeah, and because we proliferate this way, we can still play all of these cards. I'm not even sure if I want the Sweltering Exhaustion. Skipping a build might not be bad. But anyways, you get a proliferation. Always a nice thing, even though the quad stack is kind of fucking weird. And then beast deal damage. So we'll go here. Here. Now, if I just use this Stinging Sandstorm, it'll, you know, do a lot of work in that land. And over here, I think we just kill... Or do we do damage? Maybe I use my innate this way, right? Kill city. Kill 2 explorers. And I could just do another damage to this explorer here. It'll leave behind just a town. Feels pretty efficient to me. And then defend 1 per Dahan. Okay, that's cool, whatever. 1 damage per Dahan. I guess that's overkill. And Ravage. Build Mining Boom. Even though I'm planning on investing resources here, perhaps we just Mining Boom this. I think that's going to be fine. Then we'll explore the salts. Or the not salts. Anything that's not a salt land gets explored. So a little bit more than half the island will get that special treatment. There is no escalation on the salt card, so we go straight into the slow phase. Stinging Sandstorm here. It's going to be Fear. Kill, kill. Call on herders for aid. So here, we get to do some pushing action. Well, first, let's just use our innate. So 2 damage and kill you. So what if we did this, push this? We could just not even touch this land and just let it fight naturally. And it'll clear both of these mountains. And then we'll only have 3 lands building off of the salt card. And none of them will ravage either. We'll be down to just 3 lands ravaging. And this one, the first ravage skips. So we're only looking at 2 lands ravaging on that salt card. So I think it's actually a pretty decent position to be in. And we have all of this going on, right? Maybe do like a ravage skip. I don't know. Oh yeah, we even have a defense. We don't even need to take a blight here. Gosh, we have like more stuff than there is like shit to do with it. It's not a bad position to be in. Cool. Let's just take the opportunity to get a little greedy. We might even like not really do anything this turn. Go here and here. Gain some energy. We don't want to play you. Might as well toss you out. Maybe we do Gift of Power to gain a card. And then we can gain another card on G3 next turn. We could probably go for a major. Maybe even just forgetting this Gift of Power. And that will be the position I want to be in, right? Because we could use like this Gift of Searing Heat. Do 1 damage fast in this land. It's no longer mining, so it no longer ravages. Cool tricks like that. Okay. Do a defense. See the event. Hard-working settlers. Well, the Ravage gets useless to us this turn. So we kind of want things to... I don't know, the most invaders that matches a Ravage card. So we can add a town to a land without a town. Right, so if we add it here and then immediately Ravages, right, things get kind of fucky. We get to push 2 to Han. If we add a town here, right, then it's going to build up, and that's going to be a mining land. So maybe we just add 1 here, you know, kind of just take it on the chin as a mining land. Well, because the beast is going to kill, So if we went here, kill explorer, damage this, the beast kills that, and then the land is cleared. So we take a blight, but then we don't have to deal with the extra thing. That's probably worth it. Push up to 2. I don't really see a way to gain value off of that, like by pushing this in. So we'll just let that be. Add town to land without town, and immediately ravage. Okay, take a blight. Here. That goes like so. And then beasts count as badlands. Cool. And destroy a damaged invader in a land with beast. Thank you. You never get value out of that, but we figured it out. And all of that actually gets us terror level 2. Yeah, that's got to be the right play. Sweet. It needs 1 damage per Dahan. Aw, we could have killed a town. That's fine. Explore town for landmarks, the only invader. All right, we will pick off you. All of a sudden, this game kind of just solved itself. Ravage in the mountains, build on lands that aren't salt. And there's no bonuses that happen in empty lands, so we get that. So like I was saying, right, like this salt card's kind of a big equalizer. You know, on paper, like it looks like we're kind of screwed with all of this going on. But because we're just like right on the edge, just on the safe side of, you know, the tipping point, we're actually in a fantastic position. So basically nothing's going to happen here. And then going into the Ravage, we're going to be skipping basically all the Ravages, taking like 1 blight. So yeah, we're in a fantastic position. Explore the sands. Explore 2 lands that are not sands. Obviously not going to go here. I'm just going to drop these in the beast lands. And if we happen to get beast kill explorers, we get to get maximum value. Sweet. All we have left to do is to gain a miner. Blood draws predators, right? Like using the beast effects, you know, that's a thing. It's also a fire, which is something that we need. We don't have it. We do have a destroyed presence, so I don't know, maybe. That's just pure fear, which is not a bad line to go with. And it costs 0. Just opens us up for going for a major. I don't think that's the play. Blood draws is cool. I mean, it's the only one with fire. But I think we're just going to take Portents. Let's just go for pure fear and let the fear cards do the work. Okay, time passes. Awesome. So this land is going to double Ravage now, actually, because the Gift of Searing Heats, it'd still be a mining land. So let's see what we get. Let's go for a major, G3. Blazing Renewal, love to see it. That'll just solve that land. Okay, so if we go here, we'll be at 9 energy, so we could pay anything that costs up to 7. Ha! We could just fragments this land. That's funny. Especially because we have the triple sun. We could make it a fast. Oh no. That's funny. We could just grow into this land and just remove all pieces and then just add a Dahan. That's super funny. I feel like Blazing Renewal is just better, obviously, right? But like, that's super funny. Yeah, it's gonna be Blazing Renewal. I mean, we're gonna lose presence here, so we're gonna keep this Blazing Renewal fed. But let's see, let's forget you. And I'll add my presence here since we know we're about to get presence here. Sweet. So let's go here first. So 2 fear, and then we'll get our 3rd fear in a second. So I'll just do it, right? Because we're going to Blazing Renewal in. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Gift of Searing Heat. I could just kill this, but 1 more fear will get us that. Sweltering Exhaustion gets us that fear. I'll do fear, and I want you to skip a build action. Okay, that way that's solved for next turn. We'll just, you know, we can't explore it, right? That's going to be a non-sans card. Coast doesn't exist in the deck for mining, for HME, and then we can't even escalate in there if we wanted to. So that fully solves that. That leaves Gift of Searing Heat. I'm just going to take the offensive approach and just kill that town. Hopefully we get any kind of, like, even like a scapegoats, right? Just killing off a single explorer will solve it for us. All right, event. Get a city and a coastal land with city. Okay. Add disease in a coastal land with the most buildings. Sweet, that just kind of protects this land for an extra turn, lets us scale everywhere else. Push a presence from a land with the Han and then do 2 damage in that land. Do I bring back the 4 stack? Oh no. This isn't a bad line, right? That creates a sacred site in a land that's hard to get sacred sites, right? Cleans that up. Yeah, fuck the 4 stack. Let's do that. 2 fear cards. Strife a town. We got 2 Ravage actions, so like that 1 Strife isn't gonna do much for me. And here, 1 damage to fend 3. This land's already solved. That one's got presence, so it's marginally stronger, so we'll go here. All right, Ravage in the mining lands. Disease, we'll skip the Ravage. Here, we'll take a Blight. So first we're going to have to execute the Blight card. Destroy a presence, remove a town. That's a really big deal. Sacrifice a presence, remove a town. Now, because the Blight went on, we do have to lose a presence as well. Okay, so that was that. And then also, we added a Blight, but we don't cascade. Instead, we upgrade. Okay, and then we go to build in the sands. Now we have to do a mining boom. Let's see, we have 2 damage, 2 explorers. I'm gonna mining boom here because I'm just gonna use that 2 damage to kill off that city. And either we explore into it or we escalate into it, and I'll be able to get value from killing the explorers as well. Okay, and we go wetlands. So here, we'll go escalate, escalate. And slow phase, all we have is 2 damage to buildings, 2 damage to explorers, and life goes on. Probably just going to, we get 3 + 1. So yeah, we can Blazing Renewal right back into this land and then just kill both the buildings because 2 damage, -1 health does take care of the city, and then that land is solved. So we're going to reclaim energy, gaining a miner. Everything costs. I was about to say we need to do stuff that's free. We don't have a lot of free choices, so we're probably playing something like this to give ourselves that damage ability. So next turn, what are we looking at? Defense is always nice. We have nothing's really on element, right? We just need tons of fire. 1 plant short there, that's sad. Of course, it actually doesn't really, it just kills an explorer, that's it. Veil the Knight's Hunt's kind of cute, right? We can mining boom this land here, drop a presence, Veil the Knight's Hunt, just kill 2 towns. That's pretty cute. In fact, I think that's good enough. Sweet. So get this Searing Heat. We have to give ourselves energy. Here, we'll do 2 fear in this land, and then we'll get the 3rd fear as we Blazing Renewal in. Go, boom, boom. I think it has to be 2, right? Yep, it has to be 2. Otherwise, it would be really good if you could just milk it 1 at a time. Swarming Wasps. Let's go here, hoping for some Kill Explorers action. Actually, no, sorry, it would be better here. for that kill explorers action. This is going to double Ravage here, so that's just an important thing to note. Invader phase event, stage 3. With buildings, add a blight there without cascading. We can sacrifice 2 presents or to haunt in that land to prevent adding blight. So if I just sacrifice the sacred site, we're good, and I have Blazing Renewal fuel still. Okay. All right. Kill things in lands with beasts. So we'll go here, here. 3 or more to Han does not apply. Isolate, defend 2. Nowhere that really matters. As far as the isolate goes, well, it's a stage 3, so we have no clue what's coming next. So let's think about this. Probably this jungle is a land that we don't want to explore, because we're going to have to deal with this. We're going to be under pressure immediately. So I think that's it. Defend 6 in coastal lands. Dang. That could have saved us. Alas, if we put the beast here, we killed 2, and then we... Yeah, there's be a few things, but, you know, just skipping out on those actions is probably worth it. Anyways, Ravage the Salt, Ravage the Sands, and the Wetlands. Exploring the jungle. Oh, shit. I guess that's the first stage 3 card, so let's do this. Let's just shuffle. I got a Mining Boom. So we'll Mining Boom, as we were talking about, up here in this mountains, so we can add a presence and then just veil it down. Sorry, exploring the Sands Wetlands. I think I preferred the other card. I don't even know what it was, but Sands Wetlands sucks for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oh boy, time to start snowballing. Yeah, that Blazing Renewal is going to gain a ton of value here. We're probably just going to have to go like top into Reclaim. 2 damage plus 2 damage to Explorers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we just kill off these Explorers here. Just start saving actions. Kill off these guys instead because I don't have presence in that land. But I can just sap that. So I'll kill these 2. Time passes. That's 3 blight, and that's just a loss there? No. So we have to do our 4 damage here. So it's not a mining land. It would Ravage once off of the Wetlands Ravage. It's not going to Salt Ravage. It will Wetlands Ravage, putting us at 1 blight, and then it'll do a normal build, and then we're just really on the edge. But I could skip it with Sweltering Exhaustion. So we can still survive the turn. But I don't like it. Okay, so let's see if we go top here. Do the Veil trick. Sweltering Exhaustion. Here. And here. That puts us at 4 damage. Some to Dahan. I think we survive with this line. And then that puts at 4, 5, 6 energy on Reclaim, so we can play Blazing, Sap, something else. We could go here. Now, if we did this, right, we went up with 1 less energy. Right? So if we did this, we can pay for everything, right? We play all of this. That gives us 1 damage to each invader plus 4 damage, which would kill 2 cities. Mining Boom here. That puts us at exact... So that puts us down to 0. Puts us at 4 energy for next turn. Which means that here we cannot hit it with a Blazing Renewal. So I think we have to do this. Go Fear, skip a Ravage. Each thing does 1 damage to a thing. And we're off to the races. It only takes 1 damage to add Blight without presence. So we're safe here. There's no mining lands. That land is skipped. Choose a land with disease. There is none. We do have 2 Dahan, so we reclaim a power card or regain a unique power. So we'll reclaim a power card. And those are the 2 that we really needed next turn. Maybe we'll do another G3 top. We'll see how it plays out. Fear per board with both invaders and Dahan. Yes. Defend 3, -6 10. Isolate all lands with Dahan. Whoa. That's cool. I would love to get a mountains on this next one. That's very strong. All right, nothing is the sands. Wetlands, we're safe. Okay, build. Mining boom. If we mining boom here, I think we're okay. Yeah, because I can kill and then, yeah. So I'll mining boom there. Explore jungles, wetlands. Wow. That is so sad. Okay. I'm a sad man. All right. Brutal. Okay, so now now what are we doing? If we do here to go push, that's gonna be gone. And then we do 4 damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then some to explorers there. Okay, and then we do this. Go here, fear, damage. Okay. And it's terror level 3, so we go here. Ooh. We need 10 more fear, and that's going to be 5 of it right there. Time passes. So let's see. We go 5 and then 3, so we could go for a small major. A small major would do a lot of work here. Shoot. Talons of Lightning? Well, this sucks. Can't afford any of these. Shit. Mistakes were made. Gosh. Plague ships. We could just add a ton of disease in this land. Get 3 Ravage skips. It's kind of gross. I think we just take Talons of Lightning and we pray. That if we lose here, I'm gonna be super sad. Oh man, reclaiming was obviously. Oh, we punted. It takes only 1 damage to add blight. Sick. Still just this 1 land, triple ravaging. That's the only thing that matters. We get to push. We can push the town. Oh, defend 2. So we could do this, and then that goes bada bing, bada boom. We're defended. And now this ravages once. And only once. 2 Terror level 3 fear cards. Due to a town from any land or a city from a land with stuff. We can remove the city and just end the game here. And end the game here. All right. Well, that's the game. That is HME. That was level 5. So, we were able to show off a few tricks with the adversary, being able to use it against itself in order to gain an advantage, playing right up to the edge of tragedy before making it all work out. I believe we only ever hit 7 things here in land number 2, and that was the only one that got close at any point in the game. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out the new adversary. It's super fun, and have a great day.